right. Hello and good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to another Facebook Live here at 8 Letters Bookstore and Publishing. This is your book curator and your host for today, Cindy Wong. And as usual, as what we're trying to do here regularly every Saturday, we're going to have a back-to-back book launches. So I'm going to launch three books. So the first one is When You Left Me by Robin Visco. And then the second one, catch Eliza Caballero at 5 p.m. with her book, Loving Mr. Unlikable. And then there's also another collection of poetry, Letters Never Sent by Abigail Almazon. So I hope you guys are ready. As promised, we're giving away one lucky winner, a free book, okay, of her choice. Of course, the choices will be from these three books that we're going to launch today. So once again, we have When You Left Me from 4 p.m. And then 5 p.m. we'll have Loving Mr. Unlikable. And then at 6 p.m. we'll have Letters Never Sent. Okay, so without further ado, let me introduce our first author for today. So I hope you guys are ready. Get ready with your comments, with your questions, because this is the best opportunity for you to ask the author about their book. Okay, so Robin Visco. Robin is a competitive debater by nature and a creative writer at heart. She has been writing poems and short stories since childhood, continually developing this skill until adolescence. Driven by emotion, she writes each piece with sincerity and vulnerability. So let us all welcome Robin. Robin, hi.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon. Okay, so Robin, welcome to 8 Letters. And we actually have been releasing copies of your book for the past few weeks. So congratulations.
Yes, thank you.
Maraming nag-order. Ayan, ayun.
That's great to hear.
Yes. So I have a series of questions for you. Okay, so I have this prepared, but I just want to remind everyone, for those who are watching us today, if you haven't got a copy of Robin's book, When You Left Me, is available on our Shopee, Lazada, and also on our website for only 380 pesos. In case you didn't win today. So yeah, no worries about that. You'll still have a chance, to get a copy of her book. So we have lots of stocks on hand, so we're ready for your orders. Okay, so Robin, when you left me on repeat, writing this series of poetry and prose, could you tell us or could you share to us your inspiration in writing this book?
Right, so the inspiration of in writing this book, actually, there are two different ways I got inspired to write this book. It's
Mhm.
from one is from my life experiences, and the other was just one book that inspired me to start and publish a book, actually. So for the book that inspired me to think about publishing a book, it was actually a book published by my friend Amy Madayag, Mending in the
Mhm.
Milky Way, which was published with your publishing house as well. And when I read that book, I was like, I can also do this, but in my own way, and I can also share my story, I can also share my experiences. Now, the experiences that have inspired me to write this book in the first place is the different ways that I have dealt with loss, but not
Mhm.
in the typical definition of loss where someone dies and I
Mhm.
grieve them, but loss of identity, loss of love, loss of different concepts like friendship and skill and whatnot.
Mhm.
So that's what inspired me to really write this book and pursue with publishing it.
Mhm. Thank you, Robin. In this book, you actually wrote about the different types of losses, not just from the death itself. And uh, I've seen that there's this piece entitled Seven Different Ways of Losing Love. Okay, but before we go there, I just want to point out, no. When you wrote this book, have you thought about this notion that nothing lasts forever? No, sometimes they say that like nothing lasts forever, nothing is permanent, everything has an expiration date. So, in this regard, would you say that did you take this in consideration when you were writing this book, or ano ba dapat yung tamang approach? Yeah, just whatever that
Mm.
comes in your mind.
Right. So I don't really believe in the sentiment that nothing lasts forever, because, well, I wrote a line here actually where uh uh all the memories, all the time spent together, it's all within your possession. The only thing that's changed is that they're no longer yours.
Mm-hmm.
Because nothing lasts forever, that is to imply that it fades away. But when someone dies, or when you lose when you lose uh, a love interest or a significant other, like you break up or what,
Mm-hmm.
they're still there. And when someone dies, you still have their memories with you.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing lasts forever is a it invalidates those memories and those experiences you've had with that person or with a certain event in your life.
Mm-hmm.
Because in the grand scheme of the universe, they may be temporary, but
Mm-hmm.
it is what you do with those memories, and it's you living through those memories is what keeps it lasting forever.
Oh, okay. That is a good realization as well. Okay, so okay, you have a point in that, because sometimes when we lose something or someone, um in that sense, no, sometimes we thought, oh, I'm going to find that thing or that person again. I'm going to have that person back in my life once again. Because they, yeah, so in this book, I think you did mention that like it did not, it doesn't really matter if they're going to be yours. They will still exist in the grand scheme of things, in some kind of maybe parallel universe or whatever. But at least you have those memories. Okay, so yeah, okay. Medyo malalim. It's so deep. Hindi ko hindi ko maaro. But yeah, you have a point with regards to that. So on page 88, so sabi ko nga kanina, you talk about losing love in 7 different ways. Let's try to elaborate on that. So page 88 of the book,
Mhm.
um, it says here, loss of love in 7 different ways. So maybe I can read the introduction. Greek poets and
Sure.
philosophers found the words to define the vast range of love that men could only dream to experience. How much harder does it hurt to realize that you have lost at least one of each type of love? So, ano ba tong mga to? Could you walk us
Right.
through? Mhm.
All right. Okay. So I've always been fascinated with Greek mythology, Greek philosophy, and one of my favorite concepts from the Greek philosophers is that they came up with different types of love, and they named each kind of love. And in this piece, I defined the love first, just to
Mhm.
give context, and then I explore the different kinds of ways that love can be lost.
Mhm. Okay, so the first one is eros. So that is like the most common, like typical,
Yes,
no?
when you think of love, that's usually the definition that people think of, like the
Mhm.
romantic kind of love, the magjowa, the couples, ganun po.
Mm, 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 mm. So okay, so that is like losing that person. Okay, so 7 different ways. Okay, so the second one is failure. Tama ba?
Mhm.
The authenticity shared between two souls or your soulmate, like losing a soulmate, not
Right.
necessarily romantic. Okay.
Doesn't have to be romantic, yes.
Mm-hmm. So it's something raw, vulnerable connection that you cultivate over time. Like, have you experienced losing a soulmate? Would you say?
Well, I have not lost a soulmate yet, because I'm still very young and I don't even know who my soulmate is.
Mm-hmm.
But there are a few relationships and friendships that I have cultivated a lot over the
Mhm.
years. Like I have a childhood friend, I have longtime friends from grade school and whatnot, and they're still my friends up to this day. So I just imagine, like, if I were to suddenly lose all that time I invested into those friendships and relationships, then
Mhm.
that would be very devastating.
Yeah. So sometimes, we can keep their memories, as you mentioned earlier. Okay. So the third one, type of love is ludus.
Yes.
Ludus. Yeah. Okay. So it's all on a
It's
friend.
more
Is
of
it
like playfulness. Um,
mm-hmm.
it's not necessarily like you don't have to have a friendship when to have ludus as a love. It's like banter in a sense. Like when you meet an acquaintance and inaasar mo ng slight,
Mm-hmm.
it's that kind of love that's still considered as love because you are having a connection with someone.
Mm-hmm.
Even if it's not that deep, it's still a kind of love that the Greek poets and philosophers have defined.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And then the next one, ito naman, unconditional love, storage.
Mm-hmm.
So more on the family thing, 'di ba? Like
Yes,
losing
po.
someone you love. Okay. So ayan. And then there's oh, I should have checked how
Phi-
to pronounce this.
I, Philautia, I think, I'm not sure,
Mm-hmm.
but that's how I would read it, at least based on what I know about. And so this is the most rare. It's not necessarily rare, but it's the love that you really have to work towards. It's self-love,
Mm-hmm.
because a lot of people, even myself, have a hard time loving themselves when it comes to facing their flaws
Mm-hmm.
and facing their actions and behavior. So I really think that self-love is the most important one to have as a foundation.
Yeah, I totally agree with you, and I would say this is like one of my favorites of all types of love. Because you cannot give something that you don't have, and if you don't fill yourself up, muna, like in the beginning, it's difficult. Pag ano ba? Kasi sometimes like sabi nga nila, you have to make yourself whole first. You have to love
Mhm.
yourself first before loving someone, your family, your friends, it's like I can imagine, I just gave birth last year, and
Oh,
yeah, and so
congratulations.
thank you, but yeah, thank you. So what I noticed are my baby. Okay, so he was only thinking about himself when
Mm,
when he was born. He only cares about what his food. Like he wants to be fed, he wants to sleep. They will complain about things if, for example, they don't get what they want. And then later on, once they realize na okay, they're secured, they'll be fed for sure. They'll get rest for sure. I slowly realized that he could identify or distinguish what is love. So like he started to feel affection towards, kilala niya na yung nanay niya and tatay niya. So yeah, so I
mhm.
would say yeah, self-love is very important, and minsan na overlook talaga ng isang
Mhm.
tao. Yeah, and then there's also pragma. So what is this?
Right.
Um
So pragma is when you, it's kind of like unconditional love, except this one is where you accept the flaws, because with unconditional love, right, you love
mhm,
them, even you love them no matter what. But
mhm,
with pragma, you love them in spite of what, like, their flaws are, in spite of what their shortcomings are. So it's
mhm,
more nuanced in that sense.
mhm, mhm,
So you accept the flaws wholeheartedly, and it is infinite and everlasting, because once you accept the flaws of someone and you know who they are behind those flaws,
mhm.
that tends to be a stronger kind of love.
Mm-hmm. All right. Yeah. Okay. So this provides us that page 88. This provides us all kinds of love. I think the last one is agape, like a universal love for even the strangers in your life. Um, could we elaborate on this?
Right.
Strangers in your life. Like, how could you love someone that's
If they're a stranger, right?
yeah.
But I think I view agape as the embodiment of empathy,
Mm-hmm.
where you see a stranger who's struggling, you have that empathy to help them, right? Like, you see someone in the hallways of school who, like, maybe it can be simple things actually,
Mm-hmm.
who drop their books or are struggling with carrying their laptop, you go up to help them. Or it's generally, or even, like, for example, you see Facebook posts, right, where I need help because my family member needs surgery, and you could
Mm-hmm.
donate to that Gcash. That is agape. It's the
Okay.
general sense of community wherein I've got your back even if I don't know you that much, because I would want someone to do the same for me. So
Mm-hmm.
that's it.
Yeah. Yeah. So there are different kinds of love, and because there's love, I'm not saying that loss is the opposite of love, but with
Mm,
these kinds of love, it's possible to experience then loss in these seven different ways. Okay, so my next question to you, Robin, is that why there's this open and close parenthesis on repeat? Like, why is it even possible that you will allow people to leave on repeat? So, thoughts?
right. So
Mhm.
I titled my book "When You Left Me" on repeat in parentheses,
Mhm.
because you're supposed, the way the parentheses is supposed to signify that you can read it with the
Mhm.
parentheses or you can read it without. So it can be "When you left me" and then that it ends, or it can be
Mhm.
"When you left me" on repeat. So the thought with that is, when you lose something, you can either go down the path where you will rebuild yourself
Mhm.
or try to recover from it, or you can go down the path where you just keep on losing, and like a path of self-destruction in a sense, or
Mhm.
self-sabotage. So I also mentioned in my prologue actually that loss can feel like a time loop, because I understand that there are uncontrollable factors that where you lose something, and it's out of your control, right? So
Mhm.
loss can feel like a time loop where you replay and reminisce on people that have left your life, and you
Mhm.
can't really avoid that. So when I say "When You Left Me" on repeat, it's a sense of what what people do when they leave someone. They leave that person on a time loop. Because
Mhm.
especially if you don't give that person closure, or if you
Mhm.
don't give that person enough time to process you leaving them,
Mhm.
then you're gonna give them a lot of suffering in a sense, because they'll just keep questioning, "Oh, why did you leave? Why did you leave me particularly?" And that's the main context behind "on repeat" in
Mhm.
parentheses.
Mhm. Yes. Okay. So I've also gone through this experience no wherein may taong umalis or
Mhm.
taong nawala or may bagay na nawala
Mhm.
and then there is this point in time wherein gusto ko siyang bumalik. Gusto ko
Mhm.
siyang bumalik and like para siyang ano eh, it's like a turning point. Kasi minsan pwede pa siyang bumalik sa'yo. Pwede rin naman na forever na siyang mawala.
Mhm.
So, what would you say to those people who go through this? No, what do you suggest they do? Should they? When do you know when it's time to let go of this loop, or it's time to it's still worth it to
To
chase
hold on.
after?
Mm. So I also have experienced this firsthand, where I
Mhm.
still think, "Oh, makakabalik to sa akin," or I still think that this opportunity is within my grasp when it's long gone. So what I would say to someone who is currently experiencing this is that only you can know when
Mhm.
it's time to let go, because within yourself you know hanggang kailan mo pa kaya, 'di ba?
Right.
How long you can still hold on. But of course we don't want to exhaust your
Mhm.
capabilities, we don't want to burn you out, but I feel like it should be a self-assessment. You should the key to that is self-reflection. Like, is this still worth it? You always have to reflect on yourself. Should I keep holding on to this? Is it still worth it? Will there's may mapapala pa rin ba ako sa dulo nito? So I cannot generalize for everyone what their experience with loss would be. So I cannot tell them directly, oh, you should do step one, step two, step three. So I would say it's a lot of self reflection to gauge whether or not you should let it go. And if you should let it go, you should prepare yourself to go through that process. And if you can keep holding on, that's your prerogative.
Mhm. Yeah, that's a good advice, Robin. You know, at such a young age, you're filled with wisdom. Talaga, like, oh my
Thank you
God,
po.
na ano ako, like, nasa-surprised ako. And there are a lot of people, okay, I don't want to compare people, but they've reached a certain age and they don't have this kind of wisdom. But you, look at you.
Thank
Okay,
you po.
so I think this is a good chance as well. Let's pick one excerpt that you can read from the book,
Sure.
so that we can give more idea to the audience of what is inside when you left me. Okay, just let us know the page number. Okay, if you guys, if you're holding the book, please check out the page that Robin is going to tell us. Yeah.
Okay, so this is page 31,
Mm-hmm.
Hearts and Aces. Hearts and Aces. Can you tell what's on my sleeve? I wear my heart on it, I think. That's what people say, at least. So when the people that gripped my arm with such force enough to break a heart, fractured pieces cut into my flesh, and the blood that flows out goes back into a heart that pumps no more. I drew an aceless hand. No tricks, no games, just pure unadulterated vulnerability. Because if not an ace, then the heart stations at the front lines. That is the essence of me, aceless and heart wearing. I once met someone who only had aces up his sleeve. He had his emotions locked and kept, hidden away under layers of ice, only to be used in the direst of events. Oh, how I longed to be like him, and how he longed to be like me. A heart on one, an ace on the other, the two which can never combine. For a heart's best interest is to be authentic, while an ace's one priority is to be semantic, and win a game that no one is playing. Aces and hearts deal with the hand. Let the tension grow like piling sand. For when the glass explodes, there'll be nothing left but a remnant of those who played the wrong hand.
Oh, okay. That's a metaphor.
Yes,
Uh,
right.
okay.
So, okay, hearts and aces, there's this expression, right, where, oh, you wear your heart on your sleeve, and
Mhm,
another expression, I have an ace up my sleeve. That's
mhm,
basically the metaphor of this poem. But what it means actually is that the people who wear hearts on their sleeves, who openly express their emotions, I, as a person who is like that, who wears their heart on their sleeve, I feel like I always find myself feeling like I wish I was less expressive.
mhm,
While in this poem, it says that this person met someone who only had aces up their sleeve, meaning they don't express themselves as much, that they don't show their cards or their hand, they don't expose it. So that person who only has aces up his sleeve wishes to be more expressive and be
mhm,
more vulnerable with his emotions. And I feel like it's grass is greener on the other side situation. That's the
mhm,
situation this is. And it's always that thought of, why can't I be more like this? And that thought of, I'm losing these opportunities because I'm always expressive. And I've
mhm,
felt that personally, where I've driven away people because they say I'm too much. Or, and I have a friend who is ace wearing, who
mhm,
says, I've driven away people because I don't express enough. So
mhm,
it's a game of it's a game. a game that no one is playing or that no one wants to play, right? So
Right.
I think that there a remnant of those who played the wrong hand. No matter what you have up your sleeve, it always
Mhm.
seems to be like the wrong hand, right? Because you
Mhm.
can never win when it comes to life. And I feel like that's the essence of Hearts and Aces, where you can align yourself or you can see yourself as, are you a heart wearing person or an ace wearing person?
Right. So Robin, because I would say because I'm a Libra. Okay, so I would say I started as a um heart wearing person. So but then of
Mm-hmm.
course when you get to that point in life wherein you learn so many things and then you realize that okay, I cannot just keep on wearing my heart on my sleeves. So uh it, I'm not sure if is it even possible to wear both. Like anyway, you have two sleeves, right?
You have
Left
to
and right.
sleep. Yes.
Yeah. Uh-uh. So, but yeah, this is I would say this is smart. That piece
Thank
itself.
you.
Thank
Thank
you. Ayan, Robin. So okay, before I still have questions here. No, when you wrote the book, what was your intention?
At first, it started out as a way to express myself, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it slowly turned into this cathartic experience wherein, well, because throughout writing the book, I was letting some pieces be read by friends and family, and they told me, "Oh, this is a good piece. It made me feel like this." And then
Mm-hmm.
my intention then turned into, maybe I could help people process their emotions with
Mm-hmm.
this book, because I find that as a heart wearing person, I find that people are always so scared to face their emotions head on, because it's taboo to cry, it's taboo to grieve someone. And I just find that fascinating, because I've been very open with my I'm an open book when it comes
Mm-hmm.
to how I feel throughout my life. So with this book, the intention then became, I could I could help people express their own emotions whenever they read pieces of this book. Whether or not it's in the way that I intended,
Mm-hmm.
that's fine. Um as long as it helps them connect and make them realize that they are not alone. So that's the intention of my book. It's help people realize that they are not alone in their fight.
Oh, so thank you, Robin, for sharing that. Wala namang masama. There's nothing wrong with being expressive with your emotions. Like I could see that with this book, you really showed your vulnerability. You really expressed yourself well, and only a few people can do that. And you did it with grace. You did it with such in a genius way. So
Thank you po.
yeah, that's for me. So I think at this time, we're ready for the second excerpt.
Mm,
Could you tell us what you want to read? Okay, so
right.
mhm.
It's
While you're
page
looking,
68. I
okay,
sorry.
okay, no worries. Page 68. So by the way, you guys, if there is a chance to win Robin's book, When You Left Me, we're giving away one free copy of the book. So just keep on commenting, and one lucky winner uh, will win later on. We'll announce that later after the book launches, the back to back to back launches. Okay, we're ready for you, Robin.
Right. So I just want to show the illustration
Mhm.
for the piece, and then okay. So grim reapers have kind faces, in parentheses, I hope. When you woke up, I hope you saw a kind face. I pray he said nice things to you. I wish she didn't make you feel scared. I want to think that they made you feel safe. I know that they prepared for your arrival. I felt that you were given a warm welcome. For every moment you suffered, they'll give you a lifetime of joy. So it's quite short, actually, but there's a deeper meaning to this. Uh, should I continue?
Oh
Should I
yes,
elaborate? Okay.
yeah, yeah, please
So
go.
I wrote this piece actually right after finishing my watch of The Sandman by Neil Gaiman. And
Mm-hmm.
in that series, they depict Dream, the king of dreams, as a guy, and they depict death as a woman. And if you see here, the pronouns change, right? And
Mm-hmm.
essentially, this poem, this piece, is about people who died in their sleep. So I pray he said nice things to you, meaning I hope you had nice dreams, because
Mm-hmm.
dream again is a guy. And I wish she didn't make you feel scared. I wish you weren't so scared of death. And in that last line, for every moment you suffered, they'll give you a lifetime of joy. In their time when they were alive, of course there would be sufferings,
Mm-hmm.
but because they were given a peaceful death, I feel as if they're going to be given a lot of joy wherever they are, whether that's heaven or whatever you believe in. I feel that, or if they get reincarnated, they're going to be given a lifetime of joy for every moment that they suffered.
I can't imagine people who would have to go through this scene wherein you die in your sleep, and
Mm,
yeah, but I can only wish that, well, we cannot really tell if they died okay or
right.
right, because they're not alive to tell us. So yun, medyo difficult itong part na to. So you wrote a lot of difficult pieces here, Robin. um would you say, could you share with us, like, what was the hardest or like the most painful piece in this book?
Oh, well, I think I said in my author's note, if you can hear me sobbing through the page, that's probably why. Because I wrote a lot of these pieces while crying, because I believe in the quote, no tears for the writer, no tears for the reader.
Mhm.
And if I didn't feel emotions while writing these, I no my readers would not feel any emotion. So the hardest piece to write in terms of emotional baggage, I feel, would be in the first part. It's
Mhm.
respite and regret. Wait, let me
Mhm.
look for the page. It would be last words unsaid on page 26.
Mhm. Okay.
Because this piece was the hardest to write, because like most of these pieces, they're based on some personal experience, some would be from pieces of media that I consumed. But this
Mhm.
piece was the hardest to write because I was trying to emulate the emotions of the person that experienced this. And
Mhm.
I felt like I gave it justice naman, in the sense that I was crying while I wrote this, because
Mhm.
mm, it was a hard piece to write, because it also hit, like, I chose to write this piece because not only did I see it in a piece of media, but it also correlated to a personal experience. So it's
Mhm.
like a double whammy in a sense. So that's one of the harder pieces that I wrote in terms of emotional capacity.
Yeah, I could feel your anger,
Right.
frustration in this
Thank you. Yes.
piece.
That's what I
Yeah,
wanted to convey.
yeah, sobrang na-convey mo naman. Na-convey mo siya, like in each of these line. Medyo mahirap. Mahirap siyang um uh damdamin.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah, it's very emotional. But Robin, like, for those people, like, you did mention earlier that there are people who said, okay, yeah, it's too much. Like, you you wear your heart in your sleeve and everything's too much. I hope you don't change. No, you don't
Thank
need to
you.
change for other people. If ever they tell you this, na, oh yeah, that is just too much, this is just too expressive. But I think that this is what makes you authentic. And I'm glad that you're still comfortable in doing that, because sabi nga nila, um, there are times, or there will be situations wherein you get to learn, and wherein you realize na, okay, this is not, or my feelings are not deserving na for the world to see. Sometimes experience
Mm.
such setbacks in life. So, but you're showing vulnerability. You're showing your truest self in this book. So, wow, I don't know
Thank you
what to say.
po.
Yeah, for someone like me, I think I lost it along the way. I lost. I
Mm.
cannot show my truest self in front of people. Yeah. So yes, thanks, Robin. So would this be your third excerpt, or you want to
Uh,
read a
the,
excerpt?
I think that was the second excerpt pa lang po. Because the third excerpt is Don't Stay Here With Me on page 74.
Okay, page 74. Okay, so again, let me just remind the viewers to keep on commenting because you have a chance to win Robin's book, When You Left Me on Repeat. Okay, so for our viewers right now, please don't lose this chance. We'll have this raffle later. Okay, so yes, okay, we're ready, Robin.
Thank you. Don't or stay here with me. Crawling on the pavement, you scraped your knees. Bawling your eyes out, I still hear your pleas of respite and mercy. I rushed to you, dropping to my feet, and cradled you like a baby until you fell asleep. You were missing shards of glass in your picture frame of humanity. I broke some pieces from my collection, glued you back together till I saw my reflection. I didn't know, but I was crying as the broken pieces cut into my skin. But for you, I wouldn't mind bleeding. You became a mosaic, a mismatch of colors, that when the sun shone through, it could even blind the clearest of sight. You stood up with your bandaged knees, you shined with a new luster. The strength that you have mustered is a way to repay you for merely having uttered a few kind words, to which all butterflies would flutter. To see you making strides, I can feel the tears rise to the corners of my cornea as I straighten up with pride. If you find yourself hurt again, come back to me even if you're crawling.
Okay, so to whom is this piece dedicated to?
Ah, grabe, hinatsita ko. Joke. But this is, I think this is dedicated to a friend who, this is dedicated to a friend who I think I helped. But
Mhm.
in the end, they still left me. But this is my message to them saying, even if you feel like you need someone again, I am here, even if you left me. So it's dedicated to someone in my life, but I'm not going to say who. Baka
Okay,
nanonood
so
siya.
don't worry, don't worry. Okay,
Right.
so well, minsan no, ganyan talaga tayo no na even if they already left us out of the blue or they left us in the middle of something, we're still ready to be friends with them or accept them
Mm.
in our lives. So yeah, I would say they're lucky to have you, Robin.
Thank you po.
Ayun. So um would you say na because you also mentioned that when you were writing this um y- these pieces were inspired by your experiences, so would you say na in the process of losing and writing all this, would you say that you were healed after this?
Yes, actually, my mom and I were joking about me writing another book immediately after this, and I told her, well, if I were to write another book, it would be about healing, because in
Mm-hmm.
the process of writing this book, you hit the nail on the head. Actually, in
Mm-hmm.
writing this book, I was able to reflect, I was able to process, and I was able to heal, because without expressing it, without an outlet like this, I would have just kept it bottled up and allowed it to fester within me. And
Mm-hmm.
without this book, I don't think I could give advice like the advice I gave earlier. I wouldn't be confident in giving that advice. But now I am, because I have healed properly. Because in a sense, I was able to process my emotions properly.
Mm-hmm. Right, right? So writing is a kind of therapeutic as well. So for those of you
Yes.
guys who are going through this phase, it really helps. Like I've gone through, and I've gone through that phase as well, and I can totally relate. And I am just very much looking forward to that point in my life where I can get back to writing again. And sometimes kasi sobrang busy natin, and we,
Opo.
we want we want to heal in some way, because like people wouldn't see that there's some damage, no? Like if, for example,
Mm-mm.
if you're always showing this happy face all around and blah 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 blah, yeah. So there's that. So Robin, I in the next few minutes, I would like to show people, or tell people who you are if you're not writing. So I mean,
Sure.
we've gone through a lot of serious stuff with this
Yes.
book, When You Left Me on Repeat. So we want to ano naman, change the ambience a little bit. So Robin,
Sure.
if you're not writing, what are you doing aside from ano ba? Or are you like debating lang?
I, uh, okay, so I used to be a competitive debater in my junior high school days, but actually, well,
Mhm,
that is my passion, and I am actually a student of diplomacy and
mhm,
international affairs in College of St. Benilde, and I I love debating, I love diplomacy, I love negotiating, but that is not my life only. I
mhm,
I have
mhm,
other interests and other activities that I do. But a joke that my friends would always target towards me is
mhm,
uh, Bachelor of Arts in Orgs in Organization, minor
mhm,
in Diplomacy. I love joining organizations. I'm into organizations right now, so I love to keep myself busy actually. And I think if you were to get to know me as a person, you would find that I am someone who is not afraid to speak her mind,
mhm,
but and that shows naman with my interests and whatnot.
mhm,
But aside from that, I also like watching shows. I have some shows to catch up on today. So they just released new episodes today. But I used to dabble in a lot of hobbies. I had a drawing stint and a painting
mhm,
phase. So I would say that I'm a quite an impulsive person. Like if I see something I like, I might drop all my money
mhm.
just to buy that hobby or buy materials for that hobby. But do you have other questions about who I am, Boba?
Yeah, so yung episodes na sinasabi mo kanina, ano yun? Is that in Netflix or?
Yeah, well, I have a movie to watch sa Disney Plus because we recently got Disney Plus since it just
Yay,
came to
me
the
too.
Philippines. Yeah, and the episodes naman po, I watch anime kasi po,
Mm-mm.
and usually anime drops weekly, and so I'm catching up on that. But also I want to rewatch Modern Family sa Disney Plus since I saw it and I couldn't wait to rewatch all of it again. So ayun po. Those were the episodes that I mentioned. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, thank you, Robin. Wow. I would say, like, I also recently got Disney Plus. I also saw Modern Family, and I was like, I really enjoyed the TV series. I'm not sure if I'm gonna watch that again. We have so much things. Marami pa namang shows na pwedeng ano,
Apa.
yun. And then Robin, when you mentioned that you're an impulsive person, do you think will that ever change? Because like when you approach us that okay, you wanna publish this book and all that, um, I could see that you're really into this. You really want you know what you're getting yourself into. You sound really mature in when in our dealings. So yeah, I would say you're beyond your age. So yeah, would you say that this would change in the future? Because I could see that, or I could feel your childlike spirit all over you, like vibrating, and
Thank you po.
yeah.
Well,
So
in terms of like being impulsive, I think nababagay naman po siya. When it's time to get serious and commit to something really big, I don't do it on impulse. But
Mm-mm.
I think being an impulsive person is just within me talaga po. Hindi po mawawala yung impulsive Shopee purchase pag may pera, biglang pupunta sa Shopee at hahanap ng pinakamura na pwedeng bilhin. But
Mm-mm.
that's what I mean po when I say I'm an impulsive person. I tend to not really think about short-term
Mm-mm.
actions, but when
Mm-hmm.
it comes to long-term commitments and long-term behavior, di naman po nagsisip in yung impulsiveness doon.
Okay. Okay, so like in the future, we can see Robin as a diplomat.
Well, fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. Okay. Yeah. So, well, thank you, Robin. Thank you for sharing your beautiful message in this book, When You Left Me on Repeat. It's, I would say this book will definitely help those people, who are going through difficult times wherein paano ba yung, when they were left behind, left by their special someone, or it doesn't have to be a romantic love, as we mentioned earlier. It could be losing yourself in the process, losing self love, losing all kinds of love. So, yeah. So please, people, if you don't win, or if you don't if just in case you don't have a copy yet, um, this copy of When You Left Me is available on our website for only 380 pesos, available on Shopee and Lazada as well. So there you have it. Robin, do you have any last message to our audience, to our viewers? Where can we find you?
Right. So I'm actually going to Indie PubCon this November 27. So if you still don't have a copy or you don't want to spend on shipping fees, you can go to Gateway Mall in Cubao and or Quezon City. I'm not sure, but Gateway Mall. You can go there on November 27 to Indie PubCon. You can find me there. I will be selling my book. I will also be giving away bookmarks, and if you want, I can also sign it. But yes, you can also find me on Facebook, Robin Visco. I will be, if you have any questions, you can also message me there about the book. So, ayun po.
Ayun. So Robin will be at the Gateway Gallery. It's,
Gateway
yeah, you're
Gallery.
right. It's in Cubao. It's in Quezon City. So tama ba? I'm not sure of my geography, but yes,
Yeah, me
Gateway
too.
Gallery. Gateway Gallery. So make sure to drop by. Okay, drop by. It's going to be on the 27th, Indie Pub Con 2022, organized by the Indie Pub Collab PH. Okay, so and this that is made possible by the National Book Development Board. Thank you so much for supporting indie publishers and indie writers. So yes, so catch Robin, get your book signed. Okay, if you got your copy already, that's the perfect chance for you to get your books signed there. Okay, by the writer herself. Okay, so there you go. Once again, it's 380 pesos. Make sure to get it, or you can continue commenting here, and you'll have a chance to win When You Left Me on Repeat. So there you go. Thank you, Robin.
Thank you po. Thank you so much for this opportunity. Have a good day, everyone.
Have a good day, everyone. We'll be back. Okay, we'll just take a break. We'll be back at 5 p.m. for another book lunch. So, see you in a bit. Hi everyone. I'm back after a 10-minute break. So I hope you guys are enjoying the show so far. So as mentioned earlier, we have a back-to-back-to-back book launch. So we're trying to make that a regular thing here at Eight Letters Bookstore and Publishing, where we launch books every Saturday. I would say next week is probably an exception because that is the date of the Indie PubCon. So that whole weekend, but we're still going to launch books anyway, but it's not going to be a Saturday where we do like this back to back to back. But for sure, weeks after that, we'll get back into regular programming. So before we get into our second author for today, I just want to remind everyone the books that we're launching today. So recently, just a while ago, we launched When You Left Me, okay, by Robin Bisco, When You Left Me on Repeat. And the next book that we're going to launch today is Loving Mr. Unlikable. We'll have Alisa. We have Alisa on the backstage. And then an hour later, we'll have Abigail Almazon of Letters Never Sent. Okay, so without further ado, I'll introduce you guys to our author for today. The next author is Alisa Caballero. So she's from Midsaya, Cotabato, and is a freelance copywriter and editor with almost 14 years of experience writing short stories and writing comics for fun. She finally decided to publish her work, Loving Mr. Unlikable, out of a dare. What? Okay, she graduated from Ateneo de Davao University last 2013 and has fallen in love with the complexities of life since then. And oh, a guy named Ali too. Okay, Ali, I hope you're watching. So let us all welcome Alisa. Hello.
Hi, hello, good
Hi.
afternoon.
I'm very good. And how are you doing?
I'm doing well, and yes,
Are you in Mindanao right now? Mapa?
yes, I'm currently in Midsayap, and
Mhm.
I'm currently in my room in the province. Yes,
Oh, okay, great. So I'm also in back in Cebu here. But I know a lot of our viewers are actually based in Manila or Manila and its surroundings. But yeah, well, thank you so much for gracing our back-to-back-to-back book launch. And yeah, we have Loving Mr. Unlikable here. You're here to answer a series of questions that I prepared for you. Okay, I'm sure this is going to be exciting because I remember when I was reading your manuscript, Loving Mr. Unlikable, I was sitting on the plane and there were a lot of hot scenes there, and
Mhm.
I think the two people next to me parang like looks like they are trying to peek on what I was reading at that time. But yeah, okay, so Alisa, again, once again, welcome to Eight Letters. So, Loving Mr. Unlikable, this is based in Siargao, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So, why of all the places in the Philippines, why Siargao? Why not in Midsayap or in Cebu, or why Siargao?
I don't know. When I visited Siargao the first time around 2015 or 16, I really fell in love with the chill vibe of the island, and it was like everyone didn't care what they like, didn't care or didn't have this tight schedule, and I love that. I wanted to move there immediately as soon as I landed there, but it's impossible for a freelancer because the internet there is bad. So I've decided to like create two characters and live my life for me in that in that dreamscape. So that's why Siargao. It's a beautiful place, and if you haven't been there, I think you should go check it out. Do a little soul searching in the in the sands, or maybe relive some scenes from my book.
Yeah, yeah. I think for the past decade, Siargao has really became popular in a way,
Mhm.
in the Philippines. But I didn't know they have bad internet connection. Okay, I that that is noted. Yeah, because it is very important. And I just thought like Siargao as a place, I thought it would be perfect for freelancers.
Mm.
Uh, but anyway, I think this is also the best chance for us to introduce the characters. So we have Seth Luna, and we also have Haley, Haley Cruz. Ayun, Haley Cruz.
Mhm.
So could we describe these two characters in the book?
Okay, excuse me. So I'm gonna start with Haley, the girl with the fancy pink hair. She is very driven, and she knows what she wants. She gets what she wants, and she always has her head in the clouds. So whenever she dreams of something, she strives to get it. She used to work like an 8 to 5 job. She had enough, and decided to make her own story. So basically, something that I wanted to do for myself as well. She's living my dream. And as for Seth Luna basically has my personality and wit. So whenever he claps back at Haley, that's actually how I would clap back in real life. So they're both carrying a piece of me. So they're like two sides of me, like Seth with my personality and Haley with my dreams. So, and let's get back to Seth. Seth is a very sarcastic guy. He is very defensive. He is the very epitome of an introvert. He doesn't like to talk. He puts walls up as soon as he doesn't like the topic, and he would literally go up and leave you. So that's the kind of person he is. So they're very different. It's an extrovert, introvert, grumpy, and sunshine. So they're very different.
Ayun. Okay, so I could feel their characteristics. They're clashing. Their spirits are clashing. Even in the book cover itself, like she has this pink hair and she's looking dreamy and all that. And then there's Seth. He's not even smiling. Okay, so let's talk about the elements that we can find in this book. Uh, Heat level. What's the heat level of this novel?
If this was a hot sauce, I would say this is a Reaper level hot.
Okay, yeah. So
Yes.
I have to agree on that. Okay. Yeah. So the heat level is way, way, way up there. So yun,
Mhm.
dapat prepare. Like you have to be prepared when you read this book, because like this is perfect for housewives who loves. Ano ba yun? Like um I remember 50 Shades of Grey, but this one is like more realistic naman. This is more
Yeah.
realistic because like there's no billionaire, but there's this simple guy, um, and then there's this girl um, who's very much in need of, how should I put it? She's in need of a boo.
Yeah, she is Haley is a she loves being in love. She romanticizes love, and she happened to fall in love with a guy who despises the concept of love. So it's a very challenging story.
Mm-mm. Yes, yes, I would agree on that. Parang, I okay, maybe we'll talk about how was the process of you writing the book and publishing it as a dare. But um, because I could feel while I was reading the first few chapters of the book, I could feel Haley's in desperate need of a boo. Like she quitted the job and moved to Siargao, and ano ba, like yeah, that's her story. And like she was like trying to flirt a lot with, well, not with Seth initially, right?
Mm.
Because like Seth was like always shrugging her off, and then I think it was like the younger brother.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she um she liked his younger brother because his younger brother Theo is the basic um, mod model kind of guy. Like he's attractive and he's basically the Haley's type.
Mhm.
And yeah, that's why she wanted to attract Theo first
Mhm.
rather than Seth, because Seth was, like I said, her exact um, opposite of her type.
Mhm. Right, right. But then, okay, so I don't want to spoil that much. So I think you guys should get the book and read it for yourself. Kasi parang like talking now with the author, I could go on and on with things that I love about this book. So like it's a total of we're looking at a 300 page book. Yeah, 208, 270 page book. So it's filled with a lot of going back and forth, bantering, soul scratching, and a lot of hot scenes, hot sauce, hot sauce in here. Okay, so uh, okay, my next question would be, aside from these elements, what are the elements? Ano pa yung iba? Like, what are the other elements that we can find in the book aside from the heat level?
Um, well, there are a lot of realistic dramas, because there are, like, every adult experience some sort of mental hardship,
Mhm.
because we grow up, we experience trauma, we experience some sort of disappointment in our lives. So through Haley and Seth, they give their own way of dealing with this mental struggles that I think every mid 20s to early 30s adult would can relate to, because it does get harder. Not gonna
Mhm.
lie, but the what I like, what I want to like share with the world is the fact that you don't need to romanticize your hardships. You can cry about it as long as you can move past it and continue living your life. So that's the kind of element you would see, like some elements you can see in my book.
Mhm. Right. I could imagine those people who are in their 20s, who just recently graduated, um, up to like even 40s, this book is a good read. Like they can take, for sure relate to a lot of um, things that Haley and Seth have to go through. So yeah, so there's that. Parang they're trying to prove themselves with in work. They're trying to improve their lives and many other different um, struggles. Okay, so uh, what would you say? No, the truest desire of Haley in this book? Is it just to find a boo? Is it just to find um something, trying to find something in Siargao? Like, why would you even do that? Quit your job and move to Siargao? What would you say is her truest desire in this story?
I guess excuse me. Haley is a very spontaneous girl as well. So she is like she wants to break the mold. Like she had enough. She wanted to live her dreams, because I think what she really wants, when I was writing her, she
Mhm.
wanted to really live her life to the fullest, because you only live once. I
Mhm.
mean, like you shouldn't, like you should take it into in a certain perspective, and say like you have to do the things that fulfills you. And she worked a very cushy job before quitting, and she decided to like rip her roots from the comfort and decided to start anew. So that is what she truly wants. She wants to shatter the mundane things, the circuit of boring stuff she has to go through. She wants
Mhm.
to be happy.
Mhm.
That's her true goal.
Yeah. So wow. Okay. So I think this is the perfect time then to read one of the excerpts, because you'll be reading three excerpts for the viewers, so that they'll have a chance to have a glimpse of the book. So yeah. So which page are we going to read, Alisa, or which chapter?
I my favorite is my ultimate favorite in the book is like it's something sweet,
Okay.
and this is the time when Seth, after all of Haley's shenanigans,
Mhm.
he finally gave in. So I'm gonna read a part of that chapter.
Okay.
Okay, let me just.
Okay, so while Alisa's
Yeah.
checking, I just want to remind you guys that you have a chance to win a copy of this book. Just keep on commenting, and not just this book, but you can also, choose one of the three books that we launched today. So there you go. But I hope you get Loving Mr. Unlikable. This is really a good novel. Yeah, go ahead, Alisa.
Okay, so this is the part when Seth finally gave in. That night, Seth decided to stay and cuddle with her. His hand languidly played with her hair while her cheek was pressed to his chest. "I want to be your girlfriend," she said. Seth stopped midway and let the silky strands fall from his hand. "Why?" he said. Haley thought about it. "Because I like you so much, isn't that enough?" Seth thought, "Do we really need to have labels?" Haley looked up and furrowed. "Yes, because I can't deal with it if you get yourself a girlfriend. Would you be fine if I get myself a boyfriend?" Seth pursed his lips. He remembered the strong emotions he felt when he saw August. "No," he replied right away. Haley looked at him, amused. His frowning face looked so adorable. "You're beautiful. What do you want from me?" "I'll rip your face if you keep asking that," she hissed, and Seth looked away and stifled a laugh. "How can you not see how attractive he is?" she thought. He then looked at her. "Are you sure?" "That's the stupidest question he's ever asked me," she thought. "Duh," she said. He closed his eyes as if in deep thought. It was silent for a while that Haley thought Seth fell asleep. "Okay," he replied softly, with a hint of shyness. He then reached for her hand and held it tight. Haley felt giddy. So
Aw.
yeah, it's just one of the parts that I like.
Like he finally gave in, but he didn't really show that. Like he didn't want to make it too obvious for Haley, no,
Yeah.
that he's feeling something. But what's your stand with this kind of relationship? Like, okay, something happened with them na, no? May nangyari na sa kanila during this.
Yes.
Yeah.
They had some sort of predicament.
Yeah. So, okay, so something happened already. Would you say it's important to define or put in a label in such relationships agad-agad, like right away?
Um, for me, I don't think that's the important part. The thing is, um, it's important to like really get to know each other first before you like cuff someone and like establish a label and
Mhm.
claim that person as yours. Like you don't truly know the person until you've seen the nasty sides of that person. So in that way, I guess that's why was Seth was apprehensive about the labels because he really takes things seriously,
Mhm.
like compared to Haley. So that's why he was apprehensive about it. And I guess that's why I don't really think like labels really do count that much because I mean at the end of the day it's the person you're with. Like you can call them a friend, like or whatever you want to choose, but as long as you love that person and you want to be with that person, then what does a label, what does a label matter?
Wow. Okay, so such insight. I would say if you tell me that 10 years ago, I wouldn't probably agree. No, I wouldn't probably agree. But when you get to that point where you feel confident or mature about yourself, or confident about yourself, that it doesn't really matter if we have a label as long as we're enjoying this. But maybe, would you say there should be at least a border? Like, okay, after 6 months of dating, I think we should identify our label already, isn't it?
I mean, yeah, I think that should be a common thing. But at the same
Mhm.
time, if you're on the same page, like if you're
Mhm.
comfortable waiting a little bit longer, or if you're not happy with where you are, I think like if you're not happy with where you are, you have to leave
Mhm.
that relationship. But if you're on the same page, excuse me, if you're on the same page with that person, like it that doesn't really matter how long it takes,
Mhm.
because you're on the same page, you're both comfortable. Like at the end of the day, like time, like you're just pressuring yourself because of society's standards.
Mhm.
So, but life's too short to care about society standards. So might as well do what you like.
There you go. There you go. Might as well do what you like or what you're comfortable with. Okay. So, Alisa, I think this is the time where you get to read the second excerpt. I'll have several more questions later, but you guys please continue commenting, or sharing this video. Continue to share this video or comment. Like, a lucky winner will be picked later, for a chance to win their choice of book. Yeah, so we have three titles to choose from: Loving Mr. Unlikable, we have a book, When You Left Me on Repeat, and then there's, yeah, Letters Never Sent. So, yeah, so in case you don't win, don't worry, because you can get a copy on our website, Shopee Lazada. It's only 599. Okay.
Okay, this one is what, like I like this because I had fun writing it. So this is after a certain predicament that happened that made Seth rescue Haley for the nth time. So I'm gonna read this part where they're in a parking lot, and they're like like Seth and Haley are talking there. Do you have your scooter with you? Seth asked. No, she replied, a bit distracted as she smelled the pine scent on his shirt. Seth sighed. Fine, I'll take you home, he said hesitantly. She nodded, hiding her heart hammering in her chest and the smile that threatened to break on her face. They went to the staff parking lot and located his battered scooter. He turned the engine on and looked at her. Get on. She followed, sitting behind him, holding the tail handle and the corner of the seat. Seth felt distressed. She'll fall off if he let her hang on like that. Wrap your arms around me, he said. Seth was quite sure that he would regret this. Haley. Haley smiled stupidly but bit her lip before he could see. She wrapped her arms around his slender waist. She then placed her cheek against his back, and secretly inhaled his scent. Seth smelled like comfort and possibly a bit of herb, probably from cooking, she thought. He forced himself to calm down, and he was okay. He took off. Haley's face was buried in his back, grinning like an idiot. Throughout the trip, Haley would sneak glances at his side mirrors. He looked straight ahead, his frown embedded on his face. She studied his features. His eyebrows were perfectly arched. His almond eyes, his almond eyes with stubby eyelashes, his soft and pinkish lips, all plastered on his plump face. Average, borderline boring, the old Haley would say. Gorgeous is what she thought at the moment. With that, Haley blushed and hid her face. Once they reached home, Haley unlatched herself from him. She thanked him for his help and walked back to her house. Her stomach's filled with butterflies, and she can't seem to grasp that she managed to hug Seth today. So this is like when she was stupidly like she was stupidly having a crush on Seth. Like that is my favorite because it was so fun to write. And because Haley is this really gorgeous girl, and Seth is this eh guy.
Average.
He's very average, and in my head, it's very comical to imagine. So that's why I had so much fun writing that scene.
Yeah, so we have this gorgeous woman, and then there's this average guy. Um, but I think it's also good for our viewers to know that there is the transformation stage. That's why it took 270 pages, not for their love to reach that happy ever after. So, the one who went through the transformation was Seth.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like, why is it important that he go through that transformation? Not only physically, I think he also transformed himself for Haley, because like there was like something happened. No, they're already having this relationship. Like they're building this relationship, but then something happened, and then why is it that Seth decided to transform himself? Like did he even think that he's not enough for Haley, for this gorgeous woman?
For Seth, he really looks he really belittles himself because of a certain tragedy. Like he never saw himself as someone who is important, who is worthwhile. So throughout that transformation, this is I guess some people or some young lovers can relate to. Like they hang on to this love so much that they would bend over backwards just to be accepted or just to be enough for that person. So this is an unhealthy show of some modern love stories, which is sadly very frequent. Very frequent in today's time. It was important for Seth to go through that, to break and to mend himself in a different form in order to truly understand himself. Like it's an irony, like
Mhm.
it's very ironic because he shattered himself, molded into something different. And only then did he understand what he truly was and what he truly wanted. That was when he like sort of saw himself in a different view and realized something, like something I'm not gonna say because it's it's one of the very important parts of the story. But it was the time where he truly understood and truly realized what he truly was. And yeah, it's a pretty ironic thing,
Mhm.
honestly.
Right. Yeah. So, okay. So we could feel or we could see what Seth truly desire, during the transformation, because like he also realized that he had to go through that transformation or through that process, so that they'll have this happy ever after with Haley. So, all right. So how about the third excerpt? I think we're ready for the third excerpt. Yeah.
For the third excerpt, I just didn't like. I didn't know which one to pick actually,
Mhm.
and up until now, I'm still confused which one. But I think I'm just gonna choose with something that's really funny
Okay,
instead,
yeah, let's do that. There
because
are a lot of funny scenes in this book. I would say, okay, if you're going to read this book, be prepared for the heat level, for the funny bantering. What else? Like I would say that the bantering itself is like very challenging for Haley. Like if I'm going to be put in that situation, I would feel okay. I would just leave this guy. I don't want to do anything anymore with this guy. Okay, all right. So go ahead, Alisa.
okay, I'm just putting this, but this is a conversation between Haley and her friend. So okay, let me just check this. So I have this weird neighbor who seems to hate my guts but never fails to help me, Haley said. Sounds like your sex life, a dilemma. Lee replied sleepily. Haley grumbled and continued to bring her up to date about her island life, mostly about Seth. He must be a Brazilian puppy to have caught your interest, she said. He's more like a pasty Asian rice cake, but I don't know, he's just unique. Haley shrugged, more or less confused about it as well. She went on to describe Seth, and she could almost hear Lee's frown. So you had a long list of high standards and decided you wanted to throw it all away and go with this rice cake? Lee clarified, more like in disbelief. The way you describe him sounded like you've fallen for him, though the only standards he seemed to tick from your list are breathing and male, Lee added. Haley flushed. She wanted to rebut, but realized she was right. She had a crush on Seth. Oh no, she thought.
No. Why a rice cake? What's wrong with rice cake?
Yeah, because Haley has like really high standards. Like she wants someone who is she wants a hunk basically.
Mhm.
And Seth was the exact opposite of that. And her best friend was so confused, like, why of all people did you decide on this rice cake? So, and I mean, there's nothing wrong with the rice cake, but it's surprising if you're like if you have a friend like Haley who is like who always dated hunks all her life and suddenly settled for someone who is the exact opposite. So that was like Lee's perspective. I chose that because yeah, I really had fun writing this book, as you can tell.
Yeah, absolutely. But Seth can cook. Come on, Seth is not average. Not really that average. When okay, when I was reading the book, I was imagining Seth to be this guy who okay he got the looks, but yeah, he's not the the hunk. Like how
Mhm.
would we even describe a hunk? Once the maybe he probably got muscles or
Mm.
like Piolo Pascual or
Yes, someone
uh,
like that.
someone like that. Okay, so he's not Piolo Pascual, but who do you imagine would play the average set?
The thing is, I made this story to tease a specific, like a few friends. So
Mm,
we like we have this chat room, and I would
mm,
tease her a lot. And this person is very much. I mean, everyone knows about BTS, right?
yeah.
So I was watching a certain show. I was watching a certain show,
Mhm,
and I zeroed in on a specific guy who's very grumpy, who doesn't like who is always frowning throughout the show, and he's always
mhm.
cooking for his friends. So I was like, it would be fun if I can make a character like that. So I sort of like modeled his like Seth from there. His name is Yoongi from BTS,
From BTS.
and yeah,
Oh.
and I only grabbed some sort of feature, but you know, Seth isn't really that bad looking. He
Mm,
like the way I described him is how he and Haley saw him.
mhm.
So he's not really bad looking. So he just really sees himself in a negative light. So
Right.
yeah, I took Yumi. He's my inspiration, and he also like I took his features as well. So I used him to like as a character in order to tease my friend who is very much attached to Yumi. So yeah, so
Right.
that's like if ever this book becomes a movie, I would, yeah, I can 100% see Yumi as Seth because he's my reference for him.
Okay, so paging that guy from BTS. Like, I hope you watch this. Okay, who knows? Who knows? Maybe in the future. Okay, so at least we know how can we imagine set in being played in a movie at least. Okay, so let's try to move out from the book, move out from the book, and let's try to focus on you, Alisa. as the writer
Mm.
of Loving Mr. Unlikable. So I hope I hope you didn't write the book just because of you want to tease someone or just because of hair. Could you enlighten us, like who inspired you to write this book?
Um, I've always, I'm the kind of person who likes to challenge myself. I like writing stories. I love telling stories, and I love reading stories. So when I was dabbling some sort of like parts of writing, um, well, because my genre isn't actually romance in the first place, I'm more of a thriller and mystery kind of girl when it comes to writing. So this is some sort of a challenge for me to write, and I took that, and along with the teasing from my friends, and from like then cheering me on, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna write a story, I'm gonna do it. I just stopped thinking about it. If I'm good enough, I just went for it, like the Haley way. And I started writing it, and I started falling in love with the genre. And it was actually kind of, it wasn't actually that difficult to come up with scenes, because I've all I love a good comedy, like a romantic comedy. So it wasn't really that hard, because I had a lot of references in mind.
Mhm.
So that's pretty much it. I really don't have a touching story or touching motive to write this book. I just really wanted to challenge myself that I can write outside of fantasy, action, and mystery. So yeah, and and as a first novel, I chose romance of all genre.
Yeah, but what were the type of fantasy, thriller, mystery stories that you've written before? Like, okay, some writers that we guessed here in Eight Letters, uh, they usually, like, some of them they wrote on Wattpad, some of them they wrote on different other platforms. So where did you start, and like what kind of stories have you produced in the past?
Um, I started. There was this phase where I started a fan fiction account, which I
Mm-hmm.
don't know where it is now. But it started there, and it's about it's about different kinds of comics, actually, manga and anime. Because I was fairly young, I think I had it around 14.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I love writing about historical fantasy. So I chose that kind of genre when I was writing it. And but I did get some sort of like attention. Like I get fans, I get like messages saying I would continue, I should continue writing and all that. But for me, I didn't really like writing fan fiction anymore. I wanted to write my own stories. um,
Mm-hmm.
I didn't I didn't try out Wattpad.
Mm-hmm.
I almost did, but I think I just didn't have time for that back when I was in school. So most of my creations are just rotting in in a USB somewhere.
Oh.
So yeah, I mostly wrote my stories as a way to distress.
Mm-hmm. Right. Wow. Like I hope like we get the chance to read those stories in the future because well, reading this book, Loving Mr. Unlikable, I could really see your skills. You're a really great writer, and I can only
Thank
imagine
you.
what if this is. I mean, your personality as well. Although I know you've fallen in love with this genre, but then we would love to see what else do you have in that USB. Okay, so and then speaking of which, okay, so have you ever struggled in writing this book? Like if ever, like which part of the story?
Okay, the challenge in writing his book is the same challenge in writing medieval fantasy. it's
Mm-hmm.
the action scenes is really difficult because you have to truly imagine, like you
Mm-hmm.
truly imagine it. And even like there were times that I have to like reenact some sort, like some gestures to see if it was humanly possible. So I would say those are the challenges, and
Mm-hmm.
I guess being creative in specific scenes as well, just to make sure, like, okay, I don't want people to get bored of the scenes. I want them to like laugh or probably say like, oh wow. Like I want to surprise them basically without saying like, wow, that's unrealistic. I want it
Mm-hmm.
to be as realistic as possible. So that's like my that's how that I guess that's the challenge, to make things realistic and fun.
Mhm. Mhm. Well, I thought it's the part where Seth get to cook these meals. Like there's this scene where they were talking about different cuisines, and well, it made me hungry just reading that scene. So just to give some perspective to our viewers, to our readers, Haley is not really a good cook. And then there's
Mhm.
Seth. Now he's this chef of a top resort in Siargao, and um, and there was this scene wherein he was looking at what Haley was preparing, and I'm not sure, was he disgusted. Was he disgusted, or anyway, he ended up helping out Haley. But yeah, so yeah, there are different elements in this book, in this novel, um, wherein for sure you can relate to. It's not just all hot scenes. It's all you can explore different um, uh, not just on the surface, but like you can really deep dive into their lives. That's how you wrote it. So Alisa, will there be any where can we find your future works, or will there be more books from you in the future?
As of this moment, I'm actually writing like 12 books simultaneously, and um I'm not sure if I'm gonna publish them all, but for now they're like my stress relievers whenever I get stressed at work. So as of this moment, I might publish a few if
Mhm.
they're actually like if they're good enough for my standards,
Mhm.
and I will probably just I'll polish it as much as possible.
Mhm.
I'll baby it, and I'll probably give more attention than the attention I gave here. I only
Mhm.
wrote this for like 3 months,
Mhm.
and I wanted to give more attention to the upcoming books. This like but the thing is, even like the short time span, I actually put a lot of care into this because as you said, there were a lot of terminologies and a lot
Mhm.
of slang, like culinary
Mhm.
slang, because I actually put a lot of care of putting research into it to make it as realistic and as relatable as possible. So for my future publications, I'm not sure yet, but I do have a page in Facebook, which is the same name, Elisa El Caballero, which is a Facebook page, like available. There is where I put all my announcements and I guess updates from like future works and stuff.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay, so Alisa, will you be writing more romance novels, or would you go back to fantasy thrillers and mystery?
The thing with romance is it's very easy to write
Mhm.
because everyone had experienced love at some point in their lives,
Mhm.
and it's also easy to connect to.
Mhm.
So maybe I will write a lot of romance in the future, and or maybe I'll incorporate it in some of the medieval fantasy thrillers and stuff like that, because love is easy to inject in different genre.
Right.
So yeah, so it's gonna, maybe it'll be in some of my books.
Yay, yay. So I have this last question for you. So Alisa, how is it even possible that you get to be stressed with with writing, wherein you're already a writer in your career?
Well, for me, it's like reading a book. You
Mhm.
sort of conclude like, okay, uh, I want to tell a story. I want to like come up with my own endings. I'm kind of
Mhm.
like that as a person. So because in corporate setting and you're a writer, like they will give you different conditions, like it has to be like 360 characters, or it
Mhm.
has to be in this font, like but when I'm writing after work, I get to do whatever I want. Like I don't
Mhm.
have to think about the word count. I don't have to think about the terms that I have to use and all that. And I don't even have to like strictly think if the sentence makes sense, but like until I sober up and I actually edit it. So yeah, that's how I distress, because like I guess in a way it's like taking a job in like writing as a career.
Right. Okay. Wow. All right. So I hope I can get that motivation from you, because like I know I'm already related in the industry of writing. I also want to get back into writing myself. But yes, Alisa, thank you so much for gracing this show, and also for sharing all your insights about loving Mr. Unlikable. Yeah, so we really enjoyed reading this book. Um, just keep on commenting on this Facebook Live, and you'll get a chance to win a copy of Loving Mr. Unlikable. So, Alisa, I believe you'll be at the Indie Pub Con, right? Indie Pub Con and
Yes,
Bullet Fest. Yeah, maybe we
yes,
can.
in Cebu.
Yeah. So,
And
yeah, when will you be in Cebu?
I'll be in Cebu on the 25th, which is for the Cebu Lit Fest. And you can get my copies there. You can ask me to sign it, and maybe you can, I don't know, like ask me questions about the book, or maybe just talk live with me. I don't know. But I'll be there and I'll be happy to talk to you guys. And I will also be on the like on Indie Popcorn in Park Ball on the 26th. I will be there, and along with other authors, I will sign your copy for you if you're there. I will be providing on both days. I'll be providing free bookmarks for people who buy my work, and of course I will sign it and I will talk to you guys. And I guess like you can ask me questions there, and you can find me there.
Yay. Okay, so I'll see you soon, Alisa, like really soon. 1 week to go before
Yeah,
this Con and Cebu Lit Fest. Oh my God, we're packed. We're packed. So that's why we're
very
skipping.
packed.
Yeah, very packed. So that's why we're skipping the book launch. The back to back to back book launch next week. Okay, so thank you so much, Alisa, and to all the viewers that we have today. So just stay tuned, because we have another book to launch in about 10 minutes. So thank you, Alisa, and
Thank you as well.
see you. See you. See you. All right, so now we're back in this back-to-back book launch here at Eight Letters Bookstore and Publishing. So once again, I'm your host and book curator, Cindy Wong, and we're down to the last book, which is Letters Never Sent by Abigail Almazon. So if you're new here in this screen, what we're trying to do is launch three books regularly every Saturday here at Eight Letters Bookstore and Publishing. So far, we've done When You Left Me. We started at 4 p.m. by Robin, okay, by Robin Visco. And then at 5 p.m., we spoke with Alisa Caballero and her book, Loving Mr. Unlikable. And then now, this time, we have Abigail Almazon of Letters Never Sent. So, one lucky commenter will win a book of his or her choice of book tonight. Okay, so keep those comments coming. Okay, show your love to these authors. They did an excellent job in publishing these books. So, without further ado, let me introduce our last author for tonight. All right, so Abigail Almazon. So she's currently 19 and lives at Tanawan City, province of Batangas. She's currently taking up her bachelor's degree in tourism management at National University in Laguna. Her dream came true when Perfect Scars was published in 2021. Her first book prompted her to show her love for her scars and imperfections. Every page she writes inspires her to publish a new work of art and assemble it on a shelf. She's just another woman with thousands of unspoken words and thoughts, and she uses her pen to express herself freely. So, unfortunately, she just got disconnected at this very moment. So, she's trying to reconnect, but that was the part where I was supposed to put her up on the stage. But no worries, let me just show you what this book looks like. So, this is Letters Never Sent with our premium matte cover. It has white paper. It has a total of 300 pages, 320 pages to be exact. Okay, and this is what the back cover looks like. And then I believe we're also including a bookmark in this book. Okay, so if you get a copy of the book, okay, you'll get a postcard that looks like this and a bookmark. There you go. So you'll get a copy of a bookmark and a postcard um, included in this book. Okay, so I can see Abby. Hi, Abby. Hello. Okay, let's see. Let's see. Okay, mic test. Okay, you can try to unmute your mic. Ayan.
Hi.
Hi, Abby. Wow, you're only 19. I can't believe it. Ayan.
I turned 20.
Ayun, unfortunately, technical issues. I think there's something. Let's try to get her back. Yun, Avi. Um, let's see. Hold on, hold on. Um, I'll try to get her back. Um, let's see. Avi, are you there? Yun, sayang, because I really wanna. I have a list of questions for her for letters never sent. Ayan, Avi, can we try? Can you try to speak up? Ayan, no problem. Let's try to see if Avi can come back. But I could see that she has a lot of fans here waiting for her. There's Christine, ganda mo madam. Mamuha ka sa akin. And there's also Yvette Arguelles. Ang fresh naman po. Ang fresh nga ni Abby kanina, no? Sana magpakita siya ulit. Ayan. So, there's Lay Vivares, Yvette Arguelles, dancer din ata si author. Ayan. But kilalang-kilala niyo siya, ha? Ayan. Ayan. So, yun nga. Nagre-reconnect. But yes, there you go. Sabi rin ni Lay, whoa. Yun, thank you for supporting Abby. Her book is now available on our website, on Shopee and on Lazada. Ayun, Abby, are you back? Or, okay, yeah, hindi pa siya back. Just hold on a minute. Hold on a minute. Let me see. Ayan. Yes. Okay, so sabi ni Lay, Letters Never Sent is a representation of all the unspoken words of a long-lost soul. You may grab a copy. Yes, so thank you, Lay, for sharing the link here. Perhaps while we're waiting for Abby, try to read some excerpts. Yan. Buti na lang, magaling ako sa impromptu. Okay, joke lang. So I'm going to read an entry. Pumili lang ako. Okay, from page 14, Ghost Town. Look at me. I'm back in a place that's given me nothing but heartache. It's like touching the dust of us that continue to slip in between of my fingers. Running back into this ghost town is like bringing back together two long lost souls. Ayan. So, yun ang ghost town. Well, I wouldn't say nakakatakot, but sometimes, no? Sometimes there will come a time wherein someone or that person that's so important for us would slip from our fingers. Well, it happens, and that's life. Okay, so let me pick another entry. Okay. Da-da-da-da, and say stop. Okay. I want this. I like this title. Epiphany. People don't know what I really feel deep inside. There are millions of gallons I cried because when I break down, there is something in me that wants to die. I depended on someone who paints me with different colors, and now they're acting cruel. The realization will hit me, and there I will learn, and eventually I'll become happy because at the end, it is me that will never leave me. Okay, so that's all about self love. Okay, so Epiphany is all about self love. Okay, so let's try to get Abigail back ulit. So wala pa. Okay, she's trying. She's trying, guys. She'll be here. Please keep your comments coming because you have a chance to win this book. If this is the book that you want to win, you know, it's a 300-page book. Grabe, ang dami niyang feelings inside. Okay, let's see. Let's pick another one. Okay, while we're picking another one, I just want to let you guys know that this coming weekend is going to be packed here at 8 Letters. We have the Indie Pub Con, okay, Indie Pub Con, and there's also the Cebu Lit Fest. Okay, wow, this is the second year that we're joining the Indie Pub Con, and guess who's the director? That's me. But yeah, this is the second year that I've been directing the Indie Pub Con. It's a mini convention for indie publishers and indie writers. If you're a writer or a publisher or a bookseller, make sure to register because it's a hybrid event anyway. We're going to be in Ilocos and CR, Cebu and Davao. Wow, nationwide. We're going to be in these places, but if you cannot attend to these places, you can also attend online. So just register at www.tinyurl.com/INDIE @PUBCON 2022. So /IndiePubCon 2022. Ayan. Avi, are you here? Magparamdam ka?
Hi. I'm so sorry for technical difficulties.
No problem. No problem, Avi. So, yun nga, I'm sure patiently waiting naman ang ating mga fans dito, mga nanonood. Ayan. So, I have a series of questions. Hindi ko na patatagalin pa dahil baka mawala ka na naman. So, look at you, a 300-page book. To whom or was there a person you're dedicating these letters to? Kasi letters never sent eh. Yeah. So, sino?
For myself or for my previous or all the self. Charot. So nakalagay sa dedication ko is for the wounded but never heard. So parang siya sa mga taong it's about for the person I don't specifically point
Mm-mm.
sa mga tao. Like,
Mm-mm.
it's about the feeling of vulnerable and fragile on the inside, but a
Mm-mm.
need to be brave on the outside because not everyone will give a damn. Sorry for the word, but that's the truth.
Mm-mm.
So, it's a book I wrote for myself, but I think maybe the readers will be able to relate or maybe see themselves in the same situation.
Mm-mm.
Yon.
Ayun. So, what was the process like for you? Ikaw ba yung tipo ng writer na nagsusulat araw-araw? Ikaw ba yung tipo? Kasi like 300 page, eh, like I would imagine you writing one entry per day. Or how is it like? How is it like writing your second book? Ayan, medyo nawala lang si Abby. Ayan, nawala si Abby. Okay, technical difficulties, but no worries. I think you can find Abby on her Facebook and Instagram. I followed her. She has a lot of great posts. If ever you have questions for the author,
Actually, I wrote
Abby,
that
ano ka ba?
last April lang. Not
Ayun.
every day, but most of the time, kapag nakikita ko yung sarili ko na I want to speak about this situation, but I
Mhm. Okay. Yes, sorry, I think there's a delay. Um, all right. Avi, are you here? Okay, so I'm afraid there's a delay. In the connection, Tito. Avi. So sige, no worries. We can try to connect again. Ayan. Avi, are you back? Ayan. While waiting for you, ipapakita ko na lang ang maganda mong libro. It's only 550 pesos. It's available on Shopee, Lazada, and on our website. Again, 550 pesos. But if you can keep on commenting, you have a chance to win this book. So mamaya may pa-raffle tayo. Later na. Okay? So, Avi. Ayan. So medyo nahihirapan tayo sa connections, ano? But yeah, sabi dito ni Yvette, nagkukulong sa kwarto pag nagsusulat. Abby, ganito ka ba? Okay, sa sobrang talino ni Miss Abby, nakapagsulat siya ng 300-page book. Ayun. So, ayan. Sabi ni Yvette, bakit pa ako mag-a-add to cart kung ako din naman mananalo? Well, may chance ka dahil marami kang comment, Yvette. Ayan. So, that's the spirit. Oh, sige, ganito na lang. Abby, Ito yung mga questions ko supposedly for you. Because this is your second book na. Gusto kong malaman din kung meron ka bang different approach compared sa first book. So sana masagot mo to in the coming days, maybe in your social media account. Ayan. And I think one important reason, or one important thing to know is, why is it so important to write these letters kung hindi mo naman sila isi-send. So yun yung mga gusto ko sanang pag-usapan namin ni Abby today, but no worries, we'll probably have to reschedule that. Okay, so okay, mag-alala. We'll be back perhaps next week. But yes, thank you guys for watching. And once again, let me show all the three books that we just launched today. We have When You Left Me by Robin Visco, Loving Mr. Unlikable by Alisa Caballero, and Letters Never Sent by Abigail Almazon. Ayun. Oo nga, sayang. Ang ganda ni author. And then, nag-prepare siya. But, yun nga, sa Pilipinas, yung internet connection medyo struggle. Okay. Ayun. So, pamay na lang. All right. So, thank you very much, everyone. And see you next Saturday. Bye. Bye-bye.